People all across this country are being empowered, and they're standing up and they're fighting back in love against where our democracy is going. And I'm so happy tonight to be joined by one of those, I like to call, I think I'm going to give them a name, love soldiers. People who are so in love with America and so in love with its democracy that they're willing to fight back. And so we're joined with one of those individuals. She's busy, so I'm happy she could join us because she has a fight on her hands. But don't worry, because after this interview, every one of y'all listen tonight, we're going to have her back. And I said on last night's show, some of you guys can make digital phone calls. Other of you could send $1. You could send $2. You could send her 50 cents. She needs every penny. Because this is how we are going to save our democracy. We have 100 and some odd days left to do it. So joining us on the live line all the way from Nebraska, is Kara Eastman, running for Congress in Nebraska's 2nd District. Thanks for joining the show tonight, Kara.
Hi, thanks for having me. And since we're going to be friends, my name is actually Kara.
Sorry.
Kara.
My apologies. Listen, my producers are literally snickering because they all know that I'm the worst when it comes to names. But now we're friends, Kara.
Call me Kara. Right.
Now we're friends. And when you get to Congress, I'm going to call you Congresswoman Eastman, which is your real, I'm just going to start calling you Congresswoman Eastman now. How about Congresswoman Eastman right now? How about that?
I like love soldier as well.
So you're my love soldier, Congresswoman Eastman. Welcome to the show.
How's the race? Thank you for having me.
How's the race going?
It's going really well. So I won the nominations of the Democratic primary on May 15th, and it has been a bit of a whirlwind since then because the majority of people, especially people in D.C., were not expecting me to win. And within my own campaign team, we had data, so we felt like we had a good shot of winning, but the rest of the world didn't necessarily think so. So we've gotten a lot of attention for the win. I'm very proud of that. And now we just have to keep going and unseat our current incumbent congressperson who's in his first term. He's a Republican, and his voting record has been almost 100% with Trump, and he needs to go. It's
time to go. It's time to pack up and kick him out of town. And listen, in Nebraska, the Nebraska 2nd District, because, I think some folks listening tonight don't know where that is. Because trust me, after this show, I'm telling you, last night was a tough night. It was a real tough night for folks. Kara and or Congresswoman Eastman. Let me just be very, very. I like the future cast. I do believe in that. People were tough, and I literally said last night, I'm like, we've got to start supporting each other. We've got to start loving each other, and if we really want to save this democracy, we're beyond making phone calls. We've got to. If you got $1, send $1 to a candidate. If you could spare a cup of coffee, $4 from Starbucks, send that $4 to a candidate because they need it. So tell us where the district is. Tell us where the geographic lines of the district, so for folks who need to familiarize themselves with Nebraska.
Sure. The 2nd District is Omaha, and Omaha is right on the border between Iowa and Nebraska. And then there's also, so it's all of Douglas County, which encompasses Omaha, and then a little bit to the south of us is Sarpy County, and the part that wasn't gerrymandered in 2010 is now also part of this district. So it's 96% urban. This is the area of Nebraska that has traffic lights and ethnic food and people of color, and so it's we are actually an urban area and have all of the same issues that other urban areas do.
I love that. I love that you said that, because I think when people assume Nebraska, they assume everybody's, like all Trump supporters. They all have MAGA hats, and they're all cooking their food out back and living underground or something. But you're right. Omaha is a thriving American city with that looks like the rainbow, right? That has everybody in it. And I really think that's the reason why you're going to win that race, because I think what's happening there is happening all across the country. People are waking up, and they're realizing, Kara, that our democracy is in danger, right? And the fact that Donald Trump's going to get a 2nd Supreme Court pick, and the fact that, while in the dead of night, Congress is passing a farm bill that's gutting food for poor people, people are like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Something is wrong. Something in the atmosphere is off. And that's why I think you're going to win this race, because I think Democrats and Republicans and black folk and white folk and Latinx folks are all going to come together and say, we have had enough, and we're taking our democracy back. But what inspired you? Because I think that's so important. What inspired you to put your name on the ballot?
I was inspired to run because of my mom. So growing up, it was just me and my mom. And in 2016, she was diagnosed for the 5th time with cancer, or 2016. And yeah, for the 5th time. And we were having a conversation, like you would with your mom, about just our day. And she, in passing, told me that her doctor had prescribed her a pill that was $2,500. And I had to stop her on the phone and say, what are you talking about? How could a pill be $2,500? That's insane. And she said, well, that's in addition to the $800 I'm already paying every month for prescription drugs. And I said, well, wait, you have Medicare. Like, how is that even possible that you could be paying that much? And the reality of my mother not being able to afford that $2,500 pill, and I run a nonprofit. My husband is in academia. We don't have that kind of expendable income to be able to pay that much for a pill. I don't think most people have that much. But it meant that she wasn't able to leave the house until she passed away 9 months ago. And so that meant she wasn't able to move to Omaha, which is what we had wanted her to do so that we could take care of her. It meant that she wasn't there for my campaign kickoff, and she wasn't able to see my daughter's last art show. My mom's an artist like my daughter. So the reality is people in this country, and I've met so many people since I launched the campaign who are telling me about the thousands of dollars they're paying in prescription drugs. And in the wealthiest country in the world, this is ridiculous that we can't solve this problem, and we can solve this problem. There are solutions in front of us, and it's time for people to start standing up for people.
That story is, I'm literally like teary-eyed over here because I just put myself in your shoes for a minute, and I think about what I would do if it was my mother, my mom, and just folks know who listen to this show all week. My mom's like my best friend, and I can imagine your mom seems like you had the same similar relationship. And that is exactly and you know, your story is not like exactly like you said, your story is not, you know, isolated. All across this country, yes, the economy is doing well, but people are, so maybe the ends got a little closer, but people are still sitting at their kitchen table trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet. And prescription drugs are one of those things. Early childhood care is one of those things. And for the past year and a half, this Republican Congress, they promised that they were going to, quote unquote, make America great again. And the stories seem to be the same to me. People are still suffering.
Yes, so I'm a social worker. I've been working in nonprofits my entire career for over 20 years. And that's what we see here in Omaha. At my nonprofit, Omaha Healthy Kids Alliance, we focus on children's environmental health and healthy housing. So we go into homes and assess the homes for things like lead, mold, radon, anything inside the house that might be making kids sick. And the majority of our clients are people living in fairly extreme poverty and are constantly having to choose between paying their utility bills or putting food on the table, or paying their medical bills or paying for the transportation to get to work. I mean, these kinds of choices are unbelievable in the country that we have right now. And the fact that we are not creating policies that actually support regular working families, people living in poverty, is unbelievable to me. And so I believe it is time for us all to start standing up and fighting against some of the things like the tax bill that the Republicans passed. That is a bill that is designed for the very wealthy, for large corporations. Those are the people that don't need a tax break. Those are the people that actually can afford to make sure our system works the way it should.
And you literally, so I did a training earlier for the Congressional Black Caucus Institute with folks who are getting ready to run for office. And I literally said to them, that's just what you just said there. I said, there are these issues that the millionaires and billionaires of this country don't have to worry about, that working class people have to worry about. And nobody, no Republican has talked about those issues for the past 2 years. Nobody. They talk about a tax cut and how great it was going to be. But for folks like your mom and folks like for senior citizens, some of them are cutting their pills in half because they can't afford the prescription drug cost. And so I'm so happy that you and so many others like you have been bold enough and badass enough. And the greatest part about it is that it's women. Women are saying, we're badass and we're bold and we're ready. And screw this bully. We are going to take him down district by district, state legislative house by state legislative house, voter by voter. And so if nobody said this to you, I am proud of you. This entire movement should be proud of you. And other women like you who have said, we have had enough. and we are standing up and we are fighting back. And now more than ever, I think it's time for folks to join hands with you. And like I said to the rabbi, it's time for us to cross this Edmund Pettus Bridge a second time. And that was a time that changed the country for the better. Now, how can folks find out more about your campaign?
Well, I'm easy to find these days. So my website is eastmanforcongress.com. I am on Facebook at Eastman for Congress, Twitter at Cara for Congress, Cara with a K. Instagram, Cara for Congress, and we welcome everybody. We have, I think at this point, we're over 80,000 individual donors to this campaign. People around the country, people within the district have just been pouring in support. And like you said, even that dollar donation means something. I am endorsed by Justice Democrats. We do not take corporate PAC money in my campaign. And so this is a people-powered campaign, and it's working, and we feel very good that we're going to win.
Listen, just let me tell you, and I think you already know this. They're going to try to outspend you. They're going to try to outspend you. But here's what you got. Not only do you have tons of people all across this country that's got your back, but you are going to outwork them. We are going to outwork them in this election.